All right. We're about to get energized. John Orr from Home Mission, all the way from Fort Worth, home of the Cattleman's, the Cattleman's Steakhouse? He tells me there's better steakhouses than that. But anyway, I'm not going to take any more of his time. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. This is Evangelism Energizer. It's all yours.
Alan, John, I just want to thank you and the Creve Hall folks and all the other churches that helped to put this on, the sponsors. This has been an amazing conference. Do you agree? And we have really enjoyed it. There was once a man that had a preacher that he was excited to start a visitation program. So he wanted everybody to show up, and he had cards for people to go visit, mostly those who had fallen away. There was this couple that was kind of quiet, weren't real good communicators, but they showed up. So he gave them a card of this guy that was really, really what we call out of duty. He said, they can't hurt anything. So anyway, so he sent them out. Well, they showed up at the door, knocked on the door, and the man recognized them, said, "Well, come in, will you?" So they came in, thank you, and they sat down on the couch and didn't say a word. And he kept asking them questions, "How are you?" and "You doing okay?" and "What are you doing here tonight?" and that kind of stuff. And finally, after about 30 minutes of them just sitting there, he said, "Well, I got to go to bed, folks." So they thanked him and they walked out the door. The next week, they got the cards mixed up. And this couple got the same guy to go back out and visit again. So they went out and knocked on his door. He looked at him and he said, "Yes." They said, "We just came by to visit with you." "Okay, well, come on in." So they sat down on the couch and didn't say a word. And so he was talking and asking questions for about 30 minutes. He said, "Fellas, I'm sorry, but I've got things I've got to do." So they thanked him and they left. Monday morning, an envelope came to the preacher with a check for $20,000. And he said, "Here is all the contributions that I missed over the last several years. I promise that I will be at church Sunday if you will never send those people to my house again." You know, folks, we do need to learn to communicate with each other. We can not only connect with people around at the church and visitors, but we can learn to connect with people around us, even our neighbors, people we work with, people we know. And you would be surprised how little you know about other people until you start connecting with them. So how do you connect? Where do you start? For one thing, you want to smile. No one wants to talk to an old grump. And you don't want to be griping about your own church. Well, I'll tell you what, the church, nobody speaks to you and it's cold. You don't want to come to church with me, do you? And they'll say, "No, I don't think I do." You want to smile when you talk to them. Iron sharpens iron. Whatever you see on the face of other people is probably what they're seeing on your face. Be patient when someone is talking. Listen. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another. That's the kind of thing that you want to bring to the table. Treat them as you want to be treated, so worded by this version in Matthew 7. Don't pretend you know everything. Let them talk. Listen to them tell you that they know everything. That way you can guide them in their conversation to a happy conclusion. And then see, every time you walk into a strange church, a strange place or whatever, look at those people as your friends. In other words, I'm just walking into a place with friends. I may never have met them before, but they're my friends. And if they're not real friendly toward me now, they will be. I went with a man one time to Washington, D.C. to help him on a business trip several years ago. And I thought everybody's going to be cold and nasty to me. And so I was kind of mumbling around, and he talked to the cab driver, and he talked to other people and said hi to them. And I said, boy, they're not very friendly here. He said, I find people to be friendly everywhere I go. What's the difference? He saw everybody as a friend. And now another thing that you can do is connect with hopes. Hopes, and you'll see on the back of your card, that's called a stars card. Daniel 12 says, he who brings those to righteousness will shine like the stars in the sky. Isn't that beautiful? And you can write your 10 people that you want to start sowing seeds on. You don't have to baptize them right away, but you got it. They're your field, and so you need to start sowing seeds. Maybe gift them, pray with them, pray for them, and also give them little scriptures like Randall did with Michael Shank. If you've ever read the book, The Muscle and Shovel, he just gave him scriptures every day. And so, but connecting with people, try the hopes method. That's easier to remember, isn't it? Hopes. Can y'all say it with me? Hopes. And how's that spelled? H-O-P-E-S. Well, the H means your home. What you're looking for is ways to connect with people. Where are you from? Places you've lived. Make a connection. Tell about the places you've lived, only if it can connect with their hometown or where they're from. Then, ask them about their occupation. What do they do for a living? If retired, what do they do now? Look for a common link. And do not make it all about you. Next, preferences. What's your favorite food? What do you like to eat? Everybody likes to talk about their food. You know very many people that just says, what I don't eat. You won't know them long. Or talk about the weather. How do you like the weather that we're having? Or where do you go on vacation? Or if you ask them about the church, don't ever ask anybody where you go to church. Don't ever do that again. Ask them instead, where do you go to church every Sunday? Now, what's the difference? Because most people don't go to church every Sunday. In fact, in your neighborhood, in your town, I don't care how small it is or how large it is, maybe 85 or maybe 10 to 15% are in some kind of church on Sunday, most of the time less than that, and it's growing less all the time. So ask them what church they go to every Sunday. Otherwise, they'll tell you the church they stay away from. And then you've got an opportunity. If they don't go to church every Sunday, there's a disconnect. So you have an opportunity then to start working them toward a Bible study. Ask them, what's your favorite sports team? Now, I know that everybody here loves the Dallas Cowboys. Right? I got an amen back there. Hey, that's okay. You'll learn. No, anyway. But listen to them. Listen to what they have to say. The next thing is entertainment. What do you do for fun in Nashville, Tennessee? Do you like to go to the movies? Are you an artist? You like to take pictures? How about, do you like to make movies? Are you in the theater? You like to go golfing? How about fishing? And what about board games? You play that? Or video games? Or are you a book reader? See what they do for entertainment. And then here's the most important question. Ask them about the religious story. That's what the final S is for. You will be surprised what people tell you, even when you talk to members of the Church of Christ. I've talked to people that are members of the church that they've come to the church for years and years and years. And I ask them about their spiritual story, and they'll tell me that they were saved in such and such church, and by asking Jesus into their heart, and they were glad they made that decision. What? You were what? How long have you been on here? 30 years. Can we talk? You'd be surprised how many people that come to your church all the time have never really known what salvation is. In fact, they were raised in some other church, and to them, people in that church are just as well off as you are. Ask them about their life story. Listen, ask, and make mental notes. Eventually, you can set up a Bible study. If you'll use this method and you do it right, you can set up a Bible study in 15 minutes or less. Isn't that what Geico promises? In 15 minutes or less, we'll save you 15% or more on your car insurance. Well, in 15 minutes or less, you can set up 15% of those you talk to with a Bible study. I can't prove that statistically, but it works. Now, what about tips for setting up a Bible study? What can you do? If someone talks about a Bible study, don't say, well, why don't we have a Bible study sometimes? You might as well just tell them, I don't want to study with you. Because sometimes never comes. When it's tomorrow, it's sometimes. When it's the next day, it's sometimes. Ask, when can we get together? Tuesday night? Thursday night? When would be better for you? Well, I work all week long. Well, how about Saturday morning? Get a time and get them committed to a time. And say, we'll study and learn from each other. I have this great Bible study, and I'd love to share it with you, whatever study you use. Then call the day before you actually set your study and confirm it, because a lot of times people do forget. And find a neutral site they prefer. People don't have you in their home as much as they used to. Sometimes they'll come to the church building. Sometimes they'd rather go to a McDonald's. Somewhere where y'all can be by yourself or whatever. Sometimes they might come to your home or whatever. Now then, what about if they have objections? Well, if they say, aren't you the people that don't believe in music? And you don't go into a big tirade, oh, we do believe in music, we do blah, blah, blah. No, don't go in that. Learn these 4 words. That's a good question. Can y'all say that with me? That's a good question. Let's do it again. That's a good question. And then write it down. Because you're not going to answer any question without your Bible, are you? Not any biblical question. Because if you do, it's just your opinion. And you prejudiced Church of Christ people think you've got all the answers. No, I don't. But I know somebody who does. And we'll talk to him and look at what he has to say, and he'll tell us the answers here. And then what if they say, I'd like to study, but I just don't have time. Say, I know how you feel. There's a lot of things I don't have time for. And something, years ago, I didn't have time to attend church or for a Bible study either. But when I started doing that, it changed my life. When you say, I know how you feel, you can go off then and say, yes, I was like you at one time. giving excuses. I don't say that, but I was like you at one time. But you know something? Look what God has changed in my life. Another question is, if you could ask God any question, what would it be? Have you ever asked that question to anybody? If you could ask God any question, what would it be? Write it down or make a mental note of that. I say, that's a really good question. Let's get together and talk about that. Let's see what God would tell you. Or let's see what God will tell you. And then here's one I like. Is there anything you wouldn't do for Jesus? Or give them a piece of paper and have them write down, would you please write down all the things you will not do for Jesus? That's a good thing to give members of the church. Just pass out a blank sheet of paper. Some of you preachers, when you're up next Sunday, and you say, and you hadn't figured out what you're going to preach on yet, go ahead and hand out a blank sheet of paper to all the members and say, now I want you to number 1 to 10 on this sheet of paper. And then I want you to write down all the things you will not do for Jesus Christ. And please hand them back to me. What do you think? What kind of answer do you think you're going to get? So the next time you ask someone to teach Bible class and say, oh, no, I used to do that, I don't anymore. Say, would you tell me what else you would not do for Jesus Christ? Or somebody says, well, I really don't want to study. So are you telling Jesus Christ that you will not study the Bible? Well, I didn't say that. See, in other words, these are questions that you can use to overcome objections. Now, I need a quick volunteer because I only have 5 minutes left. By the way, let Jesus do the connecting. It's not you who make the connections. You don't even know who God has arranged to meet to you at a particular place at a particular time. When you pray, lead me to some soul today, and I'm going to ask Jesse in just a moment to come up and lead that song for us before we close. In fact, Jesse, could I ask you to come up right now? He looks like a guinea pig, doesn't he? Actually, I look more like the pig. He's just the guinea. Okay, we're going to do a little role play here. So come on up. Hi, my name is John Orr. What is your name?
Jesse Eaton.
Jesse Eaton. Mm-hmm. I know some Eatons down in Texas. Do you have any kin folks there?
Not that I know of.
When I make a connection, I want all of y'all to say, ding, ding. Can you do? Let's practice it. Ding, ding. Can you do? Oh, that's pitiful. One more time. Ding, ding. Okay, when I make a connection. So, Jesse, who were you named after?
My uncle.
Your uncle. Mm-hmm. Did you know that there's a Jesse in the Bible?
No.
Yes, there is. In fact, he was the father of David. Isn't that something? Mm-hmm. Doesn't say much about him, just says his name, and talks about that Jesus is from the root of Jesse. So what do you do for a living? I'm sorry, forget it.
Okay.
Where are you from?
I'm from West Virginia.
West Virginia. Mm-hmm. Mountain Mama, huh?
Yes, sir.
So do you know that song?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I used to sing, when I was in high school, I used to sing that song all the time. Y'all falling down on me now, okay? I've been through West Virginia, and don't they have tunnels there that you go through, those long tunnels? I love going through tunnels. I roll down my window, go, whee! Going through the tunnels like that. Have you ever done that?
No.
Yeah, well, that'll impress people. I know you're an impressive young man. So, were you born in West Virginia?
Yes, sir.
And you've lived there all your life?
Yes, sir.
Except now, right?
Right.
Where do you live now?
Well, I still live there, but most of the time I'm at school here in Tennessee.
Tennessee. And which school do you go to?
Freed-Hardeman.
Freed-Hardeman. Well, that's great. Well, so you are a student then. That's your occupation. Mm-hmm. Do you do any other kind of work?
Not really.
Did you do any work before you went to school? Mm-mm. So you haven't worked a day in your life?
Nope. Not yet.
So you're going to be a preacher, and you're still not going to do a working day. You're like, we found this out now, haven't we? Well, what kind of food do you like?
Italian.
Italian, really? You know, I was up in Pennsylvania one time, and we went to a Mexican food restaurant. And they served us beans and rice, and they had a tortilla. And do you know what kind of sauce they had on it? Spaghetti sauce. But I like Italian food occasionally. It's really nice. Where do you like to go on vacation?
The mountains.
The mountains. Oh, I love the mountains, especially when we go to Gatlinburg.
Yep, that's my favorite.
I like to go up those little trolleys, you know, up the hills and stuff. My daughter-in-law went on it, and she says, "This isn't very high, is it?" I said, "Well, it doesn't matter. You're on a trolley and everything." She screamed all the way up and all the way back. So my son-in-law and daughter, they like to go hiking up mountains. They'll go to Arkansas and go hiking for 100 miles or something. I don't know what they do. They're crazy. Anyway, so what do you like to do? What do you do for entertainment?
I play the piano.
Play the piano, really? What kind of songs do you play?
Anything and everything.
Anything and everything. You know, my mother sent me to get piano lessons when I was about 6 years old. I lasted about 1 month. The teacher said there's no way he's going to learn to play the piano. I finally learned to play the guitar, though. So anyway, so piano player, that is really good. I saw a piano player out in Seattle one time, out on the streets playing, and he had his little jar there, and people would come listen to him. They would request a song, and he made pretty good money right out on the sidewalk. Isn't that something? Of course, they do a lot of other things on the sidewalk in Seattle too. So, anyway, well, what's your religious story?
I was raised in the church.
Uh-huh.
I was baptized when I was probably 9 or 10 years old. I can't remember specifically,
Wow.
but been here ever since.
Wonderful. Well, it sounds like you had a great start, and I hope you have a great finish. I hope you fight the good fight of faith and win that prize we're all looking forward to.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Brother Jesse.
Absolutely.
Don't leave. He's going to lead us now and lead me to some soul today.